Alright guys, so as I was editing this video, getting ready to upload it, I realized that I didn't even film an intro. So, here's your intro. Let's get into it. So, here we are. We're going to try to get these two bars out. Obviously, this one right here it can't come all the way out because the gas tank's right here. And this one you can't even get to the head of the bolt on this upper control arm. So, the plan is we're going to take this evap line off, take this fuel line off, take the filler neck off, and take out most of these bolts and try to move the gas tank out of the way so we can get to this and get these out. And then we'll obviously have to go and press these bushings out. So it's pretty straightforward. So we'll just take this evap hose off, move it out of the way, take this fuel line off, push it in, pull the little tab out, and then you can disconnect it, that fuel line, just like that. Take your little screwdriver, loosen up this filler neck. These are usually a pain. Most of the time I've touched with tanks, they were older trucks, needed, sending units or whatever. So we'll see if how this one's gonna act, see how it's gonna be. I'm gonna take it off from this side as well, so might make it a little easier. In theory, we should be able to slide it back. A little bit more. All right. Yep, this one. They're still tough even when they're brand new. It's going slowly but surely. All right. So now that filler neck is off. Fuel line's disconnected. Evap's disconnected. So now we're just going to go around, loosen up a lot of these bolts, and try to finesse the tank out of the way so that we can at least get these two. And once we do that, then we'll button it back up for the time being so nothing gets down in the tank or whatever. I'm going to go ahead and stick a rag right there just in case. Try to keep as many sediment stuff like that out of here because there is dirt on the bottom of the body which we'll have to clean out eventually. But we don't want that going in the tank and settling in there, getting in the fuel pump or whatever. So we're going to time lapse getting these arms out, and then we're gonna get these bushings pressed out. So we got all that taken care of. What we ended up doing is just taking a couple of these bolts out of the skid plate. It's also the tank straps. This will hold it in. Obviously you saw us take all this off, plug this up and everything. So when we did that, we allowed it to be able to sit on the lift, so we didn't have to take it all the way out. We had to take the back bolts out so we can kind of swing down. And under here, nothing's tied up in there. Nothing's even getting close to being pulled. So it's just resting on the lift up there. So that allowed us to drop it down enough to get to this bolt, which that came out, and there was a little plate right here that kept this from backing out. So we had to take a tiny little ratchet. I got this little ratchet from Matco, very, very small. I was able to get in there with my hands and take that plate off of the Torx bits, and then we were able to slide this bolt out. So we're gonna probably leave the tank hanging like this. Leave like this since it is supported and it's not anything being pulled on it. It is still bolted in the front. Probably leave it like this since, probably in the next couple days we will start bolting the 4-link back up. So probably gonna leave it like that. And yeah, so I thought it was gonna be a whole lot more difficult than what it actually was. It wasn't that bad at all. We were able to use the lift to our advantage. I don't have a short enough dead man that can hold it and everything. So I just got over here, let the tank rest on my back while he loosened the bolts. And when we did that, we realized that the lift actually holds it up, and we weren't even close to pulling anything, so we're just gonna let it sit here. So I finally got that out. So we're gonna run, get these bushings pushed out, and that should be the final part of this assembly. The last things to pull apart, gotta do the coilovers. Like I said, we want to do all that together, kill all those birds with one stone, and stop by the powder shop. So I'm gonna stop by the paint shop. So got a few errands to run, so we're gonna get on that, and we'll put you guys back up in a bit maybe. All right, guys. So we got these coilovers pulled apart. The way it works with coilovers is you just got to compress the coil just a little bit. Obviously, you have your seats where the coil rides, but then you got your perch. And it's got a little lip on it. So the way it works is you take a little bit of pressure off, and you can lift this up, turn it, and slide it right out. It slides right past the rod, and obviously that's where it sits. And then obviously your coils will be here. So we just got some generic coil compressors because these don't really typically have a ton of pressure on them like a strut does. So we just compress them down a little bit just to free up a little bit of room. So obviously we scratch it up a little bit. That's not a big deal at all because this coating's got to come off anyways, because obviously these are going to be powder coated. So I'm not worried about that. Obviously when we go to put it back together, we'll use the actual nice coil compressor where we don't mess up any of the powder coat or anything like that. So that's done for. We still got to do the front tube, but with the front tube, we have to press the lower bushing out before we can get the coil past it because it's so much bigger than that is. This one we were able to, slide it by, but the front ones we're not going to be able to. So we're going to have to go press the bushing out and then take it all apart, which not a big deal. Just got to be careful with it because obviously we can't take this apart, so we can't powder coat it. And if you go just put regular black paint on it, it's going to stand out. So we're trying to keep that protected so we don't scratch that up. And then the last thing that we have to do is we got the calipers out back, and we're going to pull those apart. I'll film that of us taking those apart. There's really not a lot to it. Pull the pistons out, take the seals out, stuff like that. Obviously save all the brake pads and everything because they're brand new. So we'll keep all the hardware for that. We'll have to get new seals. Obviously we can go pull the seals out. You get new ones. So take some time, clean up the diff a little bit, try to see exactly how clean that would come. It's obviously aluminum. It's got a little bit of a shine to it. It'd be really cool if we could polish it, but that's just way too much. There's too many nicks and crannies. So we're gonna clean it up. We just kind of hit it with a wire wheel to see what it would do. Kind of decide what we're gonna do with that. We put in a bunch of time on the frame and got it cleaned up a good bit because we were gonna paint it, but we actually got in touch with a guy who we think can make us some frame plates. So we're hoping that will come to fruition. Won't know in this video. Obviously we'll find out today or tomorrow if we can or not, but that'll be in next week's video more than likely. So we want to get this video out, upload it, because we're trying to do at least 1 or 2 videos a week. Try to keep the repetition up for you guys. We'll obviously film this whole process because there's still stuff to be done while we wait on sandblast and powder, you name it. There's still a ton of things that have to be done, so we'll still be filming all that. We got the full DS18 audio on the way. It should be here any day now. So we got to put in the tower speakers, the subs, all the door speakers, and you name it. Got to get in touch with all the vinyl companies today and get them all the logos sent over so that we can go ahead and start getting all the decals for this. I'll have somebody come out and do that while it's here. Obviously still waiting on the tent. The original guy who said he was going to do it. Haven't heard from him, so I'm going to use my trusty guy that I always use to see if he can come out here, get it taken care of for us. So like I said, there's still a ton of things to do while we wait. Things are going to slow down a little bit just because we are waiting on parts, we are waiting on powder coat, you name it, but there's still a ton to do, and we only got a month left. So we're going to document the whole thing, obviously, and we're going to document us going out to Sema, that whole process. Probably won't pick up the camera a ton. It'll probably be all one video of us going to Sema just because we want to be able to enjoy ourselves. We also want to document it and get the content out there for you guys. So we still got to drop this gas tank, get these 4-link arms out, get the bushes pressed out, get those over. We'll probably work on that today and all that kind of stuff. So like I said, there's still a ton of work to do. We got a couple videos filmed that we're planning on putting out. We got one of Austin's truck we're going to put out, and yeah, we're still waiting on a bunch of parts, so we're definitely down to the Sema crunch. I thought that because we started this pretty early, I mean we were late, but we were still pretty early, so we had a lot of the parts that we wouldn't be Sema crunching, but it's not turning out that way. We're still waiting on the bumpers. Once those get here, they still have to be paint matched. We're still waiting on the tires. Once they get here, they still got to be put on because a normal tire shop can't put on a 42 with a 30, and obviously those tires are no bueno. So those will not be going to Sema like that. So we're waiting on those to come in. We're still waiting on the rigid lights for the bumper. Still waiting on heads and tails. And we got a new grill. The company who's sending us heads and tails is sending us a light up grill for this. So we have to get that in, get it painted, get it wired up, and yada yada. So still a ton of work to be done, still a lot of content to be filmed with this Bronco, and then you know, at the end of this month, it's got to get loaded on a trailer headed out to Sema. It's got to be there November 1st. So, you know, we're definitely down to the last minute right here, hoping that we're not having to put parts on at Sema. We're also still waiting on the floaters, so got a lot of stuff going. I'm truly understanding the Sema crunch thing now, so yeah, but we'll get it done. You know, maybe some long nights, but we'll get it figured out and get it done. So let's get over here, get these calipers torn apart, and get all that over, so we at least have everything over at the blaster, so we can start getting some color and everything. All right, guys. So when you're taking these calipers apart, it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. So you want to go ahead and take your brake shoe bracket and go ahead and separate that. You got to pull your little pins out, which sometimes they get stuck. Try to save the boots if you can. Sometimes they're a pain, but it's not that big of a deal. Alan's not wanting to work right now, so we'll just set that off to the side. So when you got it like this, what you want to do is you want to take it and hook air through the brake line, and it'll push the piston out. But what I like to do is always make sure that the bleeder's loose first, and I'll tighten it back up by hand just so that you're not leaking any air. And then a lot of times you take something, put it in there so that it doesn't allow both calipers to come all the way out. So because then once they both come all the way out, this one's still stuck in, they're a pain to get out. So I kind of put something in here so that it won't come all the way out right off the bat. So, all right, guys. So the quickest thing I can find is just a couple of the brake pads. So I'll put them in there just so that because a lot of times what will happen is one of them will shoot all the way out, and then you have no air pressure to be able to push the other one out, and then you end up destroying the other one trying to pull it out. So I usually put this there so it can't come all the way out, so they can at least be protruded, and then I'll slowly take one out and push it out. So it don't take a ton of air pressure. I can't find my good nozzle, so I'm hoping this will work. You just put it inside where the brake line goes and just give it a little bit of air pressure. And then you'll hear it pop. So that one pops, so now we gotta get this one to pop out. So they both pop like that. So we'll take this, go ahead and pull one of these pads out and do the same thing, because it's almost all the way out right there. But if the air can do it for us, make it easy. Right. So this one is all the way out. The piston just comes right out. Then you have a dust seal, which they're all different. This one looks like it's pressed in, which, no, actually it's not. So this one, it's just a little boot. Oh, maybe it is pressed in. So you got to get that out of there. And there's a seal inside here, like a little O-ring seal. So that's the piston seal. Once you get that out, this dust seal out, pull that out, and then it's ready to go. So we're gonna get tearing down these other ones, and we'll pick you back up and show you the finished product. All right, guys, so we've reached a part of this build to where we got to change a few things. So you just seen me trying to take this caliper apart, but what happened is when it came out, it cracked this piston inside this caliper. So obviously that has to be replaced. So before we went any further, taking all these seals out and everything, I was trying to salvage it, which I think that would probably be fine, but at the same time, I don't want to do that. You know, we like to try to make sure things are right. So we went online and looked and called the part stores, called Ford, and you cannot get seal kits for these like you can, like when I did the Illuma-Duty and everything. You can go to the store, you can buy a seal kit. Comes with a new piston, new dust seal, new piston seal. So it's really easy to, you know, you don't have to be gentle with taking it apart because you're going to replace it anyways. So you can just get it out of there, and then when you go to put it back together, that's when you can be gentle. So we can't do that, so the plans have kind of changed. So now we got to order a caliper, which is for some reason special order. So we're going to order a caliper and get it to come in. This is an OEM caliper, it still says FOMOCA, but so this is now trash because it can't be used. So obviously we can still use the brake pads and everything, but we're ordering a new one, so it'll come with a new mounting bracket and everything. So this is pretty much trash as well. So that was one thing. The other thing is that we've ran into, as you can see right here on this control arm, this is the lower control arm. It doesn't allow you to press this ball joint out. So when this ball joint fails on you and you have to replace it, you got to replace the arm itself. So we went yesterday and pressed out all the bushings out of the lower control arms, as you saw, and got all those out because you can't bake those in the oven with it. So we pressed them all out and got one out, and the other one didn't survive. So went online, I was like, okay, we'll just buy a set of bushings, and couldn't find anything, so we called Ford, and they said you cannot buy the bushings, which to me I thought was pretty crazy because that's a wearable part, just like a ball joint is, and you should be able to replace that. But with these newer vehicles, they obviously want you to buy the whole arm, and they want to charge an arm and a leg for it. So we have to figure something out as far as powder coating this, because you can't paint match it, because the colors that Bryson chose, you know, you're not going to get a paint to match that. At least I don't know anybody who can, and at least not in the time frame that we need it in. So we're going to put it low in the oven, and we're doing on the other control arms, since one of the bushings are already messed up, we're going to do a test run today, and bake it very slowly, and put it at the bottom of the oven so it's not as much concentrated heat, and see if the bushings will survive enough to do this. And you know, hopefully, you know, that will work. But if not, then I guess we'll have to figure something out. But I just wanted to get in here and tell you, because these are the kind of things that you run into when it comes to these new vehicles. Stuff that I'm not necessarily used to, because this is the newest vehicle that I've done this in-depth of a project on. Obviously nobody with these brand new Broncos, not a lot of these brand new Broncos have powder coated lifts and stuff like that, like, you know, you get on a Silverado or stuff like that. Silverado, you can go to the parts store, you can get any bushing, ball joint, you know, anything for it. You can go online and you can order it, you know, and you can have it in just a few days. So it's not that big of a deal for any of these other vehicles. It just seems to be these newer ones. So I don't know when exactly this started, but yeah. So now we're in a predicament of figuring that out. So our plan going forward is, with this, we're going to bake it low, but as far as the calipers, obviously, like I said, we're not going to be able to paint match it. So I'm going to take it over to the paint shop. I'm going to have them sand it down, clean it up, and I'm going to have them painted. I don't know what color I want to do it. I really like the look of the aluminum color, so I may see if they can spray it in an aluminum color, because I think that, and then I think I'm gonna have to do the CVs as well. While we take all this, because it has to go to the paint shop, might as well take the CVs as well. It's one less thing that we have to worry about, and I think it will look a lot better if, you know, it all kind of offsets the color. So, you know, you'll have the aluminum color on that, aluminum color of that. And then obviously we just showed you with the diff, you have the aluminum color with that. So we got some rags in it. It's draining a little bit of oil. We'll have to refill that before we put it back in and everything. But we cleaned it up a little bit, and we plan on, you know, cleaning it all the way up. But I think if we're gonna take it to the paint guy for it to get painted, you know, might as well, like, if we're gonna take this, might as well take those. If we're gonna take those, might as well take the diff. So we'll probably drain that diff out, get it degreased at least a little bit, and then take it over to the paint shop and have them paint all these three the same color, so at least it all matches in its uniform. So therefore it stays, you know, looking decent. So, you know, I just wanted to throw that in this video to kind of let you know, you know, the kind of things you deal with when you're working with these new vehicles, doing these big projects. Obviously, if he chose a color that's, you know, the color of the body, or, you know, a simple color, you could just paint this control arm with actual paint, you know, do it professionally, and it would look no different. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference between paint or powder coat, and it would be great. But we don't have that luxury because of the color that he chose. So our option is to try to figure this out. And obviously, since the other one got messed up, and we're probably gonna have to get a new one anyways, we're gonna test on that one today before we go messing anything else up. So what we'll probably end up doing is buying a whole brand new set of control arms for the lowers, because you can get aftermarket ones, or you can get the OEM ones. Probably just buy a whole new set and use these as test dummies to kind of dial it in and see what it's going to do. So that way the finished product is quality. So, you know, we're going to take this over today and get all this over to the paint shop, and we'll pick you guys up when we get back here to the shop. All right, guys, so as you can see, we're over here at the powder shop. We got all the bushings taken out of the 4-link arms and control arms and everything. These things got some massive bushings in them. So we got these all pressed out. So now we're gonna get these over to sandblasting. Once they're blasted, obviously we can start powder coating them. But as you can see behind me, we got a whole load. We have the axle, all the control arms, and all that. Rotors and everything. We got the ball joints out, all the control arms, bushings and everything. So it's time for all that to get blasted. Once it gets blasted, we'll get the powder coating. We got most of these bushings out without them messing up. So these are obviously going to be reusable. So we won't have to get new ones. They're still perfectly fine. But these new vehicles, it's kind of hard sometimes to get bushings or, ball joints maybe. Not necessarily ball joints, more so bushings. So thankfully we were able to get these out and also still keep the bushings alive. So yeah, we got those out, and now it's just time for us to wait on sandblast and we can start getting some color on this thing. So probably in this video we'll start seeing some videos of stuff being blasted, and we'll get back to you. But for now, we're gonna leave these here. We're gonna get back to the shop. We're gonna start sanding and painting the frame on the Bronco. We got to get everything masked off and all that. Also spent a bunch of time on Friday getting the frame cleaned up real nice. So we're gonna sand it and start painting it. So we'll catch you guys at the shop. All right, I lied. That's gonna be in next week's video, but make sure you stay tuned. We got a lot more coming.